Do you think people who lived in the past were able to make contact with aliens? The mysterious carvings in the pyramids, inscriptions found in different ancient structures, monuments built in times when technology was extremely limited, and the Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines were discovered in the Nazca Desert in Peru and have continued to remain a mystery ever since. Massive drawings appear in various shapes, and their meaning is still unknown. According to some, they are a legacy left to us by extraterrestrials. According to others, they are a form of language created by an ancient civilization that lived there to communicate with aliens. And some believe they are simply meaningless human drawings. Today, we will explore the mystery of the Nazca Lines and take a look at the theories and scientific evidence surrounding them. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. Now, if you're ready, let's head to the Nazca Desert in Peru. The Nazca Desert is located in the southern part of Peru. The Nazca Lines are massive geoglyphs first discovered in 1926, and it is still unknown who created them. These lines consist of hundreds of geometric shapes and figures. For example, silhouettes of animals, plants, humans, and long straight lines forming a large geoglyph system. The figures vary in size, with some stretching hundreds of meters, and the total area covers hundreds of square kilometers. As mentioned, in 1926, the Peruvian archaeologist Toribio Mejia Zespe noticed the lines through ground observations. In 1939, he presented his studies in Lima, and this topic was introduced to the public for the first time. Later, in the 1940s, the lines caught the attention of American historian and researcher Paul Kosok, who observed them from the air and began to study them in detail. Following his research, Maria Reicha conducted long-term field studies and became a pioneer in the protection and deeper investigation of the lines. Who created these lines and why they did so remains a mystery, but archaeological and geochemical data show that the lines consist of two main phases: traces dating back to the pre-Paracas period and those from the main Nazca period. The generally accepted view is that most of the lines were created between approximately 500 BC and 500 AD. A period spanning roughly 1,000 years. However, some studies suggest different time ranges, for example, between 200 BC and 600 to 650 AD. During those periods, the Nazca culture existed in the region, which extended from around 100 BC to approximately 800 AD. And before that, the Paracas culture had been dominant. Recent studies have confirmed that some geometric lines may date to later periods, reaching into the final phase of the Nazca society. With radiocarbon and stratigraphic data, scientists are still actively studying the construction phases of the lines with great interest. Additionally, scientists, researchers, and archaeologists are thoroughly studying the construction techniques and preservation mechanisms of the Nazca Lines, because these lines were created thousands of years ago and have remained almost completely intact to this day. The Nazca Lines were formed by removing the darker, iron oxide-coated pebbles and stones on the surface to reveal the lighter-colored soil underneath. While this method is technically simple, creating such large-scale and perfectly aligned figures required excellent planning and division of labor. The extremely dry climate, low wind activity, and overall stable meteorological conditions of the region played a crucial role in preserving the lines for thousands of years. In other words, geomorphological conditions are the primary factors in their preservation. No matter how strong a structure is or how well you try to protect it, climate and weather conditions always play a critical role in whether it survives or deteriorates. Several experimental archaeology studies have shown that with rope and stake measurement techniques, basic geometry, and linear scaling methods, these shapes could indeed be created without advanced technology. So as mentioned, with good planning and enough manpower, making these lines is not some impossible or extraordinary feat. For example, the pyramids still astonish us because we still cannot fully comprehend how those massive stones were transported, placed, and how the internal structures were built. Many people today claim that the pyramids are ordinary structures built simply with enough manpower, yet they often speak without solid and scientific evidence. They treat the most widely accepted theory as if it is definitively proven. But remember, unless science can prove something with clear documentation, we cannot call it certain. I also don't believe the pyramids were built with alien help or mystical powers, but reducing it to something as simple as they used water to float stones and pulleys to lift them feels like an oversimplification and almost an insult to both the people of that era and our own progress. Because if the pyramids were built using a technique we still don't know today, Modern technology could easily apply that technique and build far larger and stronger structures. And perhaps one day, those forgotten ancient techniques will help humanity build on other planets or in space. Anyway, let's return to these mysterious lines. As I said, the construction of the Nazca Lines is not impossible due to lack of technology like the pyramids might seem. But they are undeniably strange structures. There are several theories about them. The first is the ritual or water cult hypothesis. Johann Reinhard and others proposed that the Nazca society was highly dependent on water and that the lines may have been related to rituals for water sources and prayers for rain. Some lines appear to align with underground water channels, supporting the idea of water-related religious practices. Thus, the water ritual theory is the most accepted and supported in the archaeological community. Another theory suggests that the lines served as ceremonial pathways. Some research argues that the long, straight lines and wide pathways were used for religious processions. Even today, in various religions, ceremonial leaders walk along designated paths during rituals. Archaeological findings of walking traces and ceremonial elements support this hypothesis. Another theory is the astronomical and calendrical hypothesis. Early studies by Paul Kosok and Maria Reiche suggested that certain alignments correspond to astronomical events such as solstices and specific star positions. Reiche devoted many years to studying this idea and collecting data. Later criticism pointed out that some alignments might be coincidental and influenced by selective interpretation. Therefore, this theory has not gained as much scientific or public support as the previous ones, and it has not established a strong consensus. Yet Kosok, and especially Reiche, dedicated a huge portion of their lives to studying and protecting these lines, and they did not receive the recognition they deserved. I personally think Reiche may have been somewhat right. Ancient people had far fewer artificial light sources, so every time they looked at the sky, they saw a breathtaking view full of stars. It's natural that they tried to reflect what they saw in the heavens into their art, architecture, and belief systems. Perhaps all these theories are partially true. The lines could have had ceremonial, water-related, and astronomical purposes simultaneously. The final theory, the one favored by many sci-fi enthusiasts, is the extraterrestrial visitor landing site hypothesis. This idea claims the lines were made for alien landings or communication, but academic circles largely reject this because there is no solid archaeological evidence. These claims have not provided any convincing proofs in scientific literature. And honestly, I also think this theory is highly exaggerated and fantastical. Why would a civilization travel across interstellar space just to leave drawings on the ground and then leave without doing anything else? If such an event truly happened, we would expect far more physical evidence. Today, we can detect ancient human activities in great detail, so a visit from an advanced alien civilization would certainly leave unmistakable traces. In my opinion, the first three theories are far more likely to be true, and the real explanation may be a combination of them. In recent years, drone imaging, high-resolution satellite photos, and geoarchaeological analyses have allowed for much more precise mapping of the Nazca Lines and more accurate age estimates for some figures. These studies provide evidence suggesting that the lines were not created in a single period or short time frame, but rather across different eras, at different times, and likely for different purposes. Additionally, the discovery of new geoglyphs through drone technology shows that the site has still not been fully cataloged. So friends, as you can see, the mystery of the Nazca Lines has still not been completely solved. We hope that the growing interest and ongoing research will one day reveal the truth, and we will all finally understand their purpose. I'm also very curious about your opinions on this topic. Do you think they were created for religious rituals, as an astronomical calendar, or do you believe aliens played a role? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. That's all from me for today. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Take care and stay safe. Goodbye for now.